honesty. Like, when you can tell artists are being sincere and genuine. I think typically my favourite artists always tend to be women. So growing up as a kid in the 90s, I was listening to a lot of, I don't know, it's quite embarrassing, like things like The Corrs and all that kind of stuff. Anything that was on the radio at the time. But I don't know, something that sounds honest, and I think you tend to get more honesty out of women in music. I was quite a feminine household as well. It was just me and my sister and my mum growing up, so it wasn't really that alien to me. But then in terms of my musical influences, as I got a little bit older, I got really into Green Day as a kid, and without really even knowing about like Billy Joe Armstrong and his sort of like lifestyle or his beliefs, I ended up with an idol that was also LGBTQ, and I had a lot of questions about myself growing up, and I found out later on that he was bi. I came out as bi, and I don't know, it just made sense. The reason why I was into these artists and performers that had a lot more about them in terms of their honesty and their congruence and all these kind of things. And I got a little bit older and I got into Jeff Buckley. He was a huge idol of mine growing up in my late teens, and who, I don't know, it was someone that I arrogantly thought I can try and do that. I really want to try and do those kind of things. It kind of pushed me to kind of do more as a singer, do more as a guitarist, away from the sort of three chords and the truth thing that Billy Joe Armstrong had in Green Day. So yeah, that kind of feminine energy, that kind of honesty, and having always feeling like there was something to rail against, that rebellious nature and culture that was in feminism and rock and roll. That's kind of what influenced me the most. Passionate, really emotive, almost crooning sometimes. Like I really get into the nitty gritty of whatever's been bothering me in my subconscious. And I might not even be singing about something that has happened that day or that week. I might be singing about something that happened 20 years ago still that I've not processed. My sound, I think my sound is unprocessed trauma with a really nice guitar and ambitious vocals. The way I approach songwriting, there's a few ways, but I think all my songs end up happening to me. They don't. I never sit down and say I'm going to write something today and I'm going to write something about this, or write in this style. Today it's going to be major, tomorrow it's going to be minor. There's never any plan. The best material I've ever came up with is sort of like almost falling out the sky. It's something that my hands need to do. My hands will be kind of playing about on the fretboard, and it's like I become a vehicle for what my subconscious really wants me to write about, to sing about, and to play the guitar in. If it's really it can be really quite thrashy when it wants to, and it can be really, really soft and delicate. But my approach to songwriting is probably just to let it happen. It's probably the reason why I'm not a prolific songwriter. I've never done the Ryan Adams thing where I've churned out 2 or 3 albums in the space of 2 years. I'd love to be that prolific. I think everybody would as a songwriter, but I think the best way for me to approach my songwriting is always just to let it happen. Let what needs to come out. But having said that, when I've wanted to sit down and write material, especially for someone else, when I was in my last band, there was a request to kind of get a song written in a certain style. And I don't know, I surprised myself. I was able to sit down and go, right, this is the blueprint. Let's see how we can write around that. And was able to write something quite successfully that method-wise. So I don't know, it kind of opens up opportunities in terms of like maybe collaborating with other people in the future and being able to write songs for other people. It can be done quite flexibly. So yeah, there's a flexible approach. But I think when it comes to my own material, I like to just let whatever is going on inside me kind of come out, find its way out. Sometimes it's came in dreams. Sometimes it's came to me through just sitting and daydreaming. I do an awful lot of that. Head tilted, and then, something just comes to me. Grace by Jeff Buckley. I wish I'd written that song. He wishes he wrote that song because Jeff Buckley collaborated with Gary Lucas with that one. In terms of someone that just wrote it as a standalone and on their own, there's a song by Regina Spektor called Samson, and to me that's like every millennial's Yesterday by the Beatles. There's something really classical in terms of like the way that she wrote that song, the ebb and flow of it, the emotion that she managed to get into that song, especially the early version where it's literally just her and a piano. I think that's a song I've always wished I wrote. Learn to recover. Learn to recover no matter what you're doing as a performer and as an artist. Most people wouldn't have clocked the mistake that you've made. They'll clock that mistake if you dwell on it. So just learn to recover and pick yourself up, dust yourself down as quickly as possible. You're talking like a split second, really, on stage. But yeah, just learn to recover and lean into accepting that you are human, you're flawed. You won't always be a 10 out of 10 performance-wise. So, yeah, come up with good ways to be able to sort of psychologically manage making mistakes, especially on stage. Learn to shrug it off. And, I don't know, live performances are this great sort of buy that you get. I think Jeff Buckley said it once about how when you're performing live, the notes almost disappear into the air like smoke. It's not like when you're recording where this sort of brain cell that you've got, this thing that has created this music, is going to get put down and it's permanent, it's there forever. But when you're playing live, there's this great, I don't know how best to describe it, there's not that permanence. You can make a mistake and it can disappear like smoke, and it's just about being able to recover well. So yeah, learn to recover, forget about it as quickly as you can. Yeah, I think that's one of the most personal songs I've ever written in my entire life. It was about a time, well, for a start, the song is how many years old now? Could be as long as 13, 14 years old. When I wrote it, I was in a space in my life where there was 7 people living in a 3-bedroom flat. There were drugs, alcohol, tattoo guns. You can see them here. I'm literally covered physically in those memories as well as internally as well. And I got really into Class A drugs for a little spell in my early 20s. It didn't really last long, the addiction. I'm really quite grateful of that. But yeah, there was too much partying going on. There was too much of living a rock and roll lifestyle on an iron brew wage. And yeah, that song was just about the grappling with the addiction that I had and all the help that I was seeking from people. Sometimes it was going in one ear and out the other. But some of it was landing and it was life-saving. But yeah, it was a song that was written about being your own worst enemy for a short spell of time and relying too heavily on others to pull you out of something that you'd gotten yourself into. Reflective. Brutally honest. That's 3. I think near the end, when you can start to hear it sort of come into a very natural crescendo, and it feels like it's getting bigger and dramatic. I'd quite like a lot of instrumentation just to enter out of nowhere, just to kind of be a release. Because at that point in the song, it does feel like there's this huge release of emotion. After all the honesty's been had and the imploring X, Y, and Z to help you or help yourself, it feels quite natural that, I don't know, it should burst almost. So yeah, I think for the time being, the ideas that I've got, the direction that I want to go in, it's going to start quite stripped back. There's going to be nice sort of ornamentation light instrumentation throughout the start. Yeah, I just want it to twinkle, sparkle, maybe like at one point finally like burst as well after all of the tension, because the tension builds quite a lot in the song as well. The direction is as ambitious as I want it to be. I don't want to have any limitations. The opening line for me is, I always love using turns of phrases in song, and I have cause for some concern, but my cause don't concern you, babe. I think myself is quite clever in that one, even though I might not be, but I'd love that line. Music. Live. Electric. Play by ear. 90s. What's next for me is probably recording these tracks and just getting to be really overindulgent with them. I'm not going to let myself be sort of held back by my own sort of, I can't do that, probably can't do that, probably shouldn't do that. Nah, I'm just going to let it come out in whatever way I want it. And if I want to add French onto it, I'm going to add some French onto it.